9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors is a puzzle adventure game that requires some brain power to get through. But is it any good? Let's have a little look. You play as Junpei, who awakes in the ship's bunker after being kidnapped by a character only known as Zero, who wears a cloak and a gas mask. You'll be faced by a locked door with a number written on it. Your job as Junpei is to find a way out. With the aid of cutscenes, and there's a lot of these, you'll have a flashback of the time when you were taken away from your apartment in the night by Zero. Bad luck sets in immediately as the window to the room gives way and starts pouring in water. Not to panic though, as this won't put a time limit on your escape. You can rotate around the room by either pressing the arrows on the screen or using the D-pad. These will be fixed images of each section of the room, so you can't freely roam. Objects of interest can be pressed and investigated to find hidden items you may need to get out, or there may be nothing at all. Any item collected can be stored in your inventory. They may be items that can be combined with new items, or they can be used to take apart an item. The first room is quite easy to work out, but there's a lot of reading to do. Of course, it has to give you a tutorial to make things easier. But if, like me, you tap the screen on frustration, then it will repeat itself, so you'll have to wait again until it finishes. The puzzles may look confusing, but it's relatively straightforward, as you only need to match colour codes to the coloured briefcase. In this instance, you have a chart of symbols with numbers, and you need to make a code from the colours matching the suitcase, so the red case just needs the red symbols converted into codes. Once you escape the room, you'll end up in the ship's lobby where you'll meet 8 other characters. Each have a watch on displaying a number like you, from 1 to 9. You decide to have code names relating to those numbers. There's Ace, a big guy who Junpei claims to look like an aged lion. Snake, who is blind and looks like a prince. Santa, who has silver hair. Clover, who is Snake's sister. 5 is Junpei, who already gives his real name away. June, who is a childhood friend of Junpei's. 7, a mountain of a man who has no memory of time before he was kidnapped. And Lotus, who is an exotic dancer.
I've just got massive tits.
The last character is 9, a poor of excuse of a man who doesn't last long. Sit back here as you'll be cycling through text for at least 50 minutes. I'm not even joking, when I first did this I used a full battery, even then they still hadn't finished yapping. You'll eventually split into 2 teams and move to the next room. Even though they are with you, you'll still be doing all the legwork. They do have knowledge conveniently, which will give you an idea of what to do. If you do get stuck, they will pick up on this and try to give you hints, however they won't straight up tell you the answer. This happened to me in one room where I had to work out a passcode with hexadecimal numbers. I had no idea, so I guessed the number and got lucky. A common feature in the game is the digital root, which when you add a single digit together to make another number, you get the digital root number. If it's a double digit answer, then you add those 2 digits together to repeat the process until you end up with one number. There is a calculator for this, but you don't need it, unless you can't add up a few simple numbers. But is this game any good? Yes it is, but it depends on how much patience you have or whether you like to have a good story in a game. What I mean by this is, can you solve puzzles without resorting to cheating? And can you deal with an in-depth storyline that you can't skip? I personally hate long cutscenes, but because this story was actually interesting and wanted to know more, I proceeded with it, although I kept my finger on the shoulder button to zip through it quicker. It can become frustrating when you can't find an item you need or you're not entirely sure what to do, but taking your time and searching will reveal something eventually, and if it doesn't, then one of the crew will say something to guide you in some way. Another thing that can be annoying is when you actually get somewhere and someone starts making a conversation and you can't skip through it. In the first room where you have to decode the shapes, you get the 4-digit number in your head, but it decides to start giving you a tutorial on some bollocks, which then makes you forget the code you just worked out. The graphics are really good, although some things can become hard to see due to the small screen. They state in the story that the ship is a gigantic, even though this ship never existed in reality. A plan for a 3rd ship would have been the Britannica, but never got built. The clock that appears in some cutscenes is actually from the RMS Olympic. Not that any of this is relevant, I'm just saying. The music is okay but repetitive, and with the text noise going on forever, you may find that you'll play this game without the sound, as you don't actually need to listen to it. The layout is simple to use and doesn't get cluttered, so you won't have a mountain of stuff to choose from. There are a few routes you can take in the game, so you might have a different ending if you play through a different way the next time you try it. I ended up getting stabbed in the back and dying not long after everyone else had been killed. Shit ending, thanks very much. But it does allow you to play through the game again to achieve a different ending. It helps out by shading out the multiple choice options you've already chosen before, therefore you won't go down the same route twice. Also is the option to speed through any dialogue you've previously read, so you don't have to sit there for half an hour at a time. This game is very pricey at the moment, but you can buy the game for the PS4, named as the Nonary game. This also includes a sequel. If you like escape rooms and a big story, then you should love this game. Thanks for watching. If for some strange reason you like my videos, please consider subscribing so I don't feel so unpopular. Do you know what I mean?